Hi, this is Scott Wheeler. I'm back. This time I'm reading to you a letter of support kindly provided April 8th, 2025 by the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. And of course, the Lawrence Welk Show being a musical show and Lawrence Welk being a musician himself, this is especially relevant. And also that he's a North Dakota native. And Fargo, as I've said previously on this channel, is the largest city in North Dakota. And NDSU, North Dakota State University, an important part of that city, and they gave him an honorary degree in 1965. So for all these reasons, this is a very important letter to have and an important part of the country for Lawrence Welk. And so let me see if there's anything else I want to add. Oh yeah, Moorhead, that part of it. In case you're not familiar with the area, Fargo-Moorhead refers to the cities of Fargo, North Dakota, and Moorhead, Minnesota. I believe they're something like 2 miles or 4 miles apart. So they're almost connected. They're almost one city. They're basically sister cities. And they're right over each other's state borders. So that gives you some context behind the name, what it means, and where it's included. So here's the letter, letterhead, signature, the text, all of that. And here we go. April 8th, 2025. To whom it may concern, the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. Oh, looks like. Okay, let me read that again. The Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra is happy to support your efforts in North Dakota and nationwide to raise awareness of and celebrate the 70th anniversary of the national debut of the Lawrence Welk Show, and to celebrate the positive contributions to music and television made by Lawrence Welk. Then in parentheses, it says Strasburg, North Dakota, and Myron Florin. In parentheses, Webster, or did I say that right? I'm reading too fast. Strasburg, North Dakota, okay. And Myron Florin, in parentheses, Webster, South Dakota. Their stories are an example of what someone with passion and ambition can achieve. In addition to a wide variety of music performances, the Lawrence Welk Show featured tap and other dance styles, providing family-friendly entertainment for more than 25 years, from 1955 to 1982, in parentheses. Repeats of the show are still aired across the country, even here in North Dakota on Sunday evenings. The work of the show to promote the importance of music has impacted countless generations, the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony included. This program instilled an appreciation for music that is still felt today, and it is this exposure that helps organizations like ours continue to reach new audiences. We are proud that North Dakota has made this large, long-standing contribution to American music and culture, and hope it and his memory will continue to be treasured and handed down to future generations. Sincerely, Lucas Wood, Executive Director, Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. And so I like to believe that this, as I always try to repeat, I'm grateful for all the support that I've had, and I am trying to make videos for these different letters and proclamations and resolutions that I'm receiving from government, from organizations, so forth. But I do like, as I've said about the agriculture letter, and certain parts of the state that have especially done a lot for this, it's great to have one of the big orchestras in the state of North Dakota on board too, so that when I'm reaching out to a variety of people and organizations, they can see that what you might say are some of his peers, in the sense that they're musicians themselves, an orchestra, he was an orchestra leader, that peers in music and peers from his home state are on board with this, and that it's not just one or two categories or sectors of the state that are providing support, that it's also music. So we've got music, agriculture, elected officials. The North Coast Fest is also music, of course. That's a Scandinavian festival, and they provided one of the first letters of support that I received. So it's important to try to have a nice broad coalition of different interests. When I say interests, I don't necessarily mean that in a negative sense, because in politics, if you talk about the interests or special interests, that can have a negative connotation. But I don't mean it that way here. I just mean people with different interests, different callings and professions that make different contributions to society and to their state, being able to come together individually into a kind of a quilt pattern where each can have their distinctive stamp or patch, right? So you got the musical patch on the Welk anniversary quilt, you got the political part, you have the agricultural part, and to the extent that media is prepared to give an explicit endorsement, then you'd have the media part of the quilt. And then, of course, I don't want to leave out the media opportunities that have been kindly given to me where they don't expressly endorse, but they just give me an opportunity to speak. That's worthy of at least honorary mention, honorable mention, even though it's not an explicit endorsement, it's still an opportunity. And so I want them to feel valued, which they are. They've given me, even without an explicit endorsement, a very useful early morale boost that's helped me to keep going with this, to be able to, should I want to rewatch. And what I mean by should I want to is I can be self-conscious sometimes of watching myself speak, hearing myself, looking at some of my gestures. So that's what I mean. I'm grateful when these spots are available to be shared through links with other people, but sometimes I feel nervous watching myself, on replay. So, but even without them saying on the show, we are behind this, we support this, the kindness provided of giving me the space and somebody to ask me the questions, I'm grateful for that. And that happened in many instances within weeks of me starting this, days, weeks, because I started in North Dakota, I believe January 13th of 2025 of this year, reaching out to people. And on January 30th, 17 days later, I already had 2 spots. And all 3 of my, if you can say, TV interview opportunities were offered to me before the end of January that I've had so far. So I even though I'm reading all these documents, I do intend on making individual videos for different places that have had me on their programs, because they deserve a shout out, a salute, tip of the hat as well. This channel isn't only about reading letters of support and proclamations. It may seem that way, but part of the reason for that is I'm trying to make sure that you can have the documented proof. You don't have to just take my word for it. You can see for yourself and you can hear for yourself the evidence that I have been getting growing support in Mr. Welk's home state. And in the case with Colin Peterson, the former long-term congressman from Minnesota, outside the home state, and in South Dakota, where Myron Florin is from, the CEO, Lori Beckvar of the South Dakota Hall of Fame, gave me support also very early in January. So that's 3 states where I have some support. And in addition, as I said here, the Moorhead is in Minnesota, and this is the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. So this, you would think, encompasses 2 states, North Dakota and Minnesota. I got a letter of support today, and I'm very grateful for this. This was a bit of a pleasant surprise. I'd reached out, but wasn't really, I didn't know what entirely would happen for sure. I got a letter of support that I intend on reading soon in the near future from the North Harvest Bean Growers Association. And I mean, considering that North Dakota is still quite an agricultural state, and Mr. Welk's personal agricultural origins and so forth, and my own farming roots through my grandma, who's from Wisconsin, I value anytime, when farmers and farmer organizations offer me support. That on a personal level means a lot, as well as for the project itself. And so now I have the North Dakota Farmers Union. I was telling you about how I have support that overlaps into other states. North Dakota Farmers Union for that state. But then I now have a letter of support from the North Harvest Bean Growers Association, which they say is the largest such organization for bean growers in the United States. And it sounds like their main focus may be in North Dakota and Minnesota. So this is a place whose focus is in 2 states, just like the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. You might say that's the case with them. And I love that. I'm hoping, we'll see what happens in the near future, to get support from the Minnesota Farmers Union. And I do want to reach out to different branches of the Farmers Union across the country and other farmer organizations that aren't affiliated with them. And I think, I recall hearing years ago about Farm Aid, like in the 80s, I guess, when there was a recession and there was a lot of farmers that were losing the family farm, and there was a lot of problems in that time for many farmers in America. I believe Farm Aid was like a concert to help raise awareness of that and to help raise money to help them. I'm not asking anybody watching to give me money, but I do want you to, I would appreciate if you'd share these videos and this channel with people, as I always try to mention at the end of the videos. That's something that is basically free. If you have a computer already, you don't have to reach in the pocketbook to to like the video and comment on it and share it in the channel with people. You know, some people might say, there's not much I can do to help you, or what could I do? There's little I could do. Well, that's something you could do. And depending on how comfortable you are, I mean, if you're a more outgoing person, or if you have large number of connections and you feel comfortable, I'd be happy if you'd share this with dozens or hundreds of people or whatever. But if you only have 1 or 2 friends, share it with them. That's something. That's not worthless. You know, if you have, take for example, with money, you know, if you only have pennies that you're able to save, if you save enough pennies long enough, that turns into something. So somebody might have quarters or half dollars or silver dollars. And so it's like, oh, I've got a whole dollar I can give you versus a penny, but a penny's still valuable. And if I can sidetrack a little bit and talk about the widow's mite in the New Testament, you know, the story talks about, paraphrasing, a lady that had almost nothing, and she gave what little she had, and how even though it was little in price or value, in a material sense, the gesture, the fact that she gave all or almost all of what she had, as little as it was, can mean more than if somebody with $1 billion, to put it in today's money, gives you, say, 100 million of that. You know, if somebody gives you 90% of what they have, and it's a penny or nickel, but then somebody with $1 billion gives you 200 million, that's awesome. It makes things easy, but it's still only a smaller, much smaller percentage. So I don't want anybody watching that maybe doesn't know famous people or wealthy people or don't have a lot of contacts to feel like, well, I'm by myself and I'm a lonely person, and all I can do is provide you with a like or subscribe. Okay. If that's all you have, if you're the only person you know, that's still something. And if you're the only person you know and you can leave a comment, do that. That's enough, you know. But as I say, if you are somebody that is able to do more and you're a kind person and you want to do more, you're definitely invited to share it with hundreds and thousands of people, or whoever it is that you know. Or maybe you know 10 people, those people are well connected. Share it with them. Let them do the heavy lifting, and you could get the wheels started in your neck of the woods. So I think that's about it for this video, but I want to express my thanks to the Fargo-Moorhead Symphony Orchestra and to the executive director for this letter. As I say, it's a great compliment to the other documents that I have. It's a very helpful tool, I want to believe, in showing that there is musical support and musical connection to the musician and orchestra leader Lawrence Welk, and including in his home state. I like to believe that if you can't get any support in somebody's home state, that even if the person's a good person, that's not a good place to start. I think that's pretty common sense. So if you can show that at least bare minimum in the home state, you can build up support. And I'd like to think that gives you some kind of a foundation, some kind of credibility to help get you started. And that's part of the reason why I want this to be a 50-state effort. I want to reach out to all 50 states, but I do try to place a lot of importance in the beginning on the home states of Lawrence Welk and Myron Florin. And because also, I think neighboring states that are part of the region, there would still be a certain amount of appreciation for these men and the different types of music that they played, such as polka. Polka is, I would think, especially associated with the Midwest where they're from, and different parts of the country, other parts of the Rust Belt, like Pennsylvania, for example. And so that's another reason why I spent so much time in that part of the country, is I would think that traditionally polka music, which is one of the genres they're known for, had a lot of fans, a lot of respect and appreciation. So let's see if I'm going to make any more videos in a moment. Trying to see what I still have here to go through. That I still have to print some stuff out, but I still have some things I haven't read yet. Oh, here. Okay. Next one I think will be the Town or County Commission's proclamation for July 2nd, 2025, which is tomorrow. So I want to make sure I read that. Thank you for watching. Take care. And as I said, please, if you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, I'm tongue twisted a little bit. If you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, Lawrence Welk Tributes, please click the subscribe button. Excuse me. Sorry about that. If you like this video, please click the like button and feel free to leave a comment. And please share this channel and these videos with people. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I should be back in a moment.